Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 28 of the Showbound podcast presented by Axel Watches. I'm your host, Michael Raskin, here alongside Ethan Cardwell. Cards, what's going on, man?
Not much, bro. Same as every week. We're just
Oh,
kind
I
of
know.
here
Trust me, I
chilling.
know.
And honestly, bro, what I've been seeing is we're getting extended to June 2nd for our lockdown, which is just amazing.
I had that written down, man. So another couple weeks of no golf, which is just absolutely absurd. We've been sitting here talking about doing these golf videos with like Fetz and Byfield, and we got a couple other. I mean, man, like we can't even golf. We can't even go outside. We're gonna go to jail out here. So this Ontario is insane, and I'm just sitting in the basement here doing the podcast. So it is what it is. Pretty boring.
Honestly, bro, the vaccines have been going out better though. Like more people are getting them.
When can you get yours? Everyone's getting theirs, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like they're going fast now, but 18 plus isn't in my area yet because my area, like Clarington itself, which is Curtis and Bowmanville where I live, there's only like 8 cases a day. Like it's not a lot at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not prioritizing us over other people. So, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I don't go anywhere anyway or do anything. So for me to have to wait and let somebody's grandmother or somebody get the vaccine before me, like absolutely somebody who needs it's going to need it a lot more than I am right now. So,
yeah,
I mean,
you're
that's
so
where
selfless,
we're at.
man. It's incredible.
Yeah. And just the man of the people, right?
Absolutely. Now we got a great episode ahead of you guys. So we got Mason Millman on, Philadelphia Flyers prospect, playing in the AHL for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, former teammate of yours in Saginaw Cards, and we had a long chat with him, and it was fun, man. That was a fun interview. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about it after, but things kind of flowed. Just was more like conversation based, and I know with me and Millie had a lot of time together, and we spent a lot of hours together there in Saginaw and became really good buddies, hang out in the summer and stuff like that. And so, yeah, we're tight and just good to see what he's doing. I mean, I talk to him quite often, but yeah, no, it was a good interview, and I'm really excited for the people to listen. And I'm sorry for all the bobbling of words that I kind of do in this interview. I mean, I was trying to just sound too good. I think just getting too cute with my words, and like they say, get over the red line and get pucks deep. And I just wasn't doing that today.
Yeah, no, you're just a foot short getting those icings called on you. And I want to mention a couple of people have asked us to do some like playoff predictions and stuff like that. But we'll talk about the North Division playoffs. Those are already set. Toronto versus Montreal, Edmonton versus Winnipeg. Now, before we even mention it, we should say, I mean, we can't not say Connor McDavid reached the 100-point milestone. As we record this, he already has 102. It's just completely insane. I mean, we don't need to get into it too much because everyone already knows, and everyone knows like he's literally the best by far. But just congrats to Connor McDavid, just an insane accomplishment.
Yeah, he'll love the congrats from Michael Raskin. Yeah, that one will hit home. Over probably like it'll probably be you and then like Wayne for like his list of people that he's like really looking forward to hearing from. You know.
Oh, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, you might be lower down on the list, but you're probably on it too, Cards. But
yeah, potentially.
So let's get some playoff predictions. So in the Toronto-Montreal series, I think most people would agree Toronto. I think they have the upper hand. Me being a Leafs fan, not even biased, they're a lot better, and they beat them a couple times this past week. So I'm going Toronto in that series. What about you?
Yeah, I got Toronto in 5.
Oh yeah, we should go games. I'm gonna go Toronto in 5 as well. But you know what? Do we know if Carey Price is coming back or is he done?
I don't know, man.
Because he can literally change everything if he's.
Yeah, that is a game changer.
Anyway, Edmonton versus Winnipeg. Now this one's a lot more interesting because Winnipeg was the hot team to start, and they've just been falling off as of late. And Edmonton's on a tear. And if McDavid keeps playing the way he's playing, like it's gonna be hard to stop, really. So I'm gonna go Edmonton in 6.
Okay, I like that call. You know what? Like Winnipeg is a good team. They have such a good core. Ehlers out for the year hurts a lot. Nasty player. I think if they were smart, they would have got Fetz up at the start of the year and had him prepped for playoffs. But you know what? We might just be a little Showbound bias here. But no, I think, Edmonton, they're due for a little bit of a playoff run. They've kind of like McDavid hasn't really been able to show himself yet in the playoffs. They've never went on a deep run with him. I don't think they're going to get past the Leafs, and I know we're going to talk about that next, but I think them in 5 or 6, just they've looked too good. They've dominated Winnipeg as of late, and McDavid and Draisaitl are unstoppable right now.
Yeah, I mean, in that potential Toronto versus Edmonton matchup, the big question for me is like, how far can one line really carry a team? You look at the box scores lately, and McDavid's getting 4 points when they win 4-3, and it's like in the playoffs, I don't know if that one line is really enough to get it done. So I'd have to go Toronto in that series. Toronto's got the depth scoring. Freddie Anderson's coming back. If he's on, like they got the two A goaltenders really. So I'd go Leafs in that one. And do you agree, Cards?
Yeah, actually, another Showbound bump for Fetz. We'll kind of just throw him in again. He sniped on Freddie Anderson the other day. He blew one by him in the A and then just undressed him in a shootout. So credit to Fetz. Those are some sick mitts. I know I sent out a tweet. I just said, like, Cole Perfetti has nice hands. Just straight up. That was my tweet on Twitter. And it's true. This guy's just silky, and he shows it every night, just undressing one of arguably a top 10 goalie in the NHL. So, but my prediction, if that's the series, I'm going Leafs in 7. I'm giving Edmonton a little bit of credit. So I think Leafs will go to 7, but Edmonton, they'll push them to the brink, but the Leafs will come out on top. Rask, what are you doing over there, man?
Breaking news. This important PSA is brought to you by Manscaped.com. This is your pubic service announcement and the news you've all been waiting for. The Manscaped engineering team has confirmed that they have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, which is now available for purchase in the USA and Canada. This new trimmer was just released moments ago, and we were one of the first to get our hands on it and share the news. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SHOWBOUND at manscaped.com. Now, I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and details on the 4.0 are next level. Their advanced ceramic blade and skin-safe technology is so good that it almost seems as if Manscaped work with Elon Musk's engineers to ensure your testes are as safe as possible. Now, I actually have mine right here. Look at the package it came in, too. A little touch of gold. Can't get with that, but this thing looks like they say Elon Musk. It really does look like a spaceship, dude. The lines on this thing, and pretty incredible looking. And now you got yours too, Cards. What do you think?
Yeah, man, like got that. Musker told me to get in Dogecoin too. So I'm on that and I'm on the Manscaped. Like I'm in great shape right now. Just put 100 G's into Dogecoin and definitely going to put some into Manscaped too. No, all jokes aside, but no, loving the Manscaped, dude. And from our last set, like the nose trimmers too, I'm just like, my breathing's better. You can't go wrong with Manscaped. So everyone just should get it. It's plain and simple.
Yeah, this thing is incredible. And I do want to say, like, what makes this trimmer different than all the other trimmers? A new multi-function on-off switch can engage a travel lock created for people who like to travel. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The new trimmer even allows you to customize your trim all over through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 to 4. And looks-wise, it's sleek with a two-tone matte and gloss finish. Even features a hot foil stamped black chrome Manscaped logo. Come on, show that mower off loud and proud. The optimized Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer is waterproof, so you can groom in the shower and not have to worry about making a mess on the bathroom floor. Did I mention wireless charging? The Lawnmower 4.0's new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help your battery length last longer. If you're still trimming your face with your ball trimmer, it's time to make some changes. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOWBOUND at manscaped.com. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth, and your balls will thank you. Once again, that's 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOWBOUND at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. That was I haven't read that read yet, so I just nailed it on the fly. But actually, just going back reading that, dude, this trimmer is actually insane. Like when you think about, they're changing the grooming game. These guys are like McDavid of the grooming game.
They're in a league of their own, as they'd say. I mean, it's actually nasty too. And I know I've gotten a bunch of people on it too, and a bunch of people just ordering now. So like, super pumped to see what they have to say. Like everyone I know who has it is just like, wow. And like the crop preserver and everything that goes along with it, top of the line. It's like, I don't know. It's like playing for the Leafs. You're just in one of the best organizations in the league. Like you just can't beat it. So everyone go get your Manscaped while you can. and go get your Dogecoin. But yeah,
Cardsy's pumping Doge.
Yeah. But I guess you can fire it over.
Yeah, I mean, we'll send it over to Mason Millman now. It was a great chat, and yeah, we'll flip it over to Millie.
All right, Millie, welcome to the pod. Super happy to have you on.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
All right, and for the listeners here, we're joined by Mason Millman, currently with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the AHL, and was recently on the taxi squad with the Philadelphia Flyers. So you're just finishing up your first year in the AHL. Just give us a little brief update. I know we'll get into it a bit more later, but how's things going first year pro?
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot different from junior. Playing against guys and having guys on your team who go home every night to 3-4 kids. So it's definitely a maturity check for sure. Guys are a lot stronger. Guys are a lot more physical. Guys seem to really care more because they're playing for their children and playing for their families versus trying to chase a dream. So the want is a lot more there, I think, for guys versus juniors, more kids chasing a dream. So you definitely work every day in and day out for sure.
Yeah, I know you needed a maturity check. As I saw you in junior, both of us kind of. But you got a roommate where you're living or just on your own?
Yeah, so I started off the year living with Isaac Ratcliffe, who played in Guelph, another London boy. But he moved rooms, and I now room with Cam York, who should be coming back within the next half an hour or so you might get to see him. But he was just up playing with Philly and did pretty well in his 2-game debut.
Yeah, I know he's a great player and maybe a potential guest on the pod, Rask, who knows? But yeah. How about you, Millie? Like, you've been doing cooking, or Yorkie or Ratcliffe do it for you? What's been the deal there?
So Ratty's a big cook, so it was nice when I lived with him. I'd just pick up steaks and he'd make them, but Yorkie's not much of a chef, so I got to kind of kick in my cooking skills. So we eat a lot of pasta for sure.
I know we've heard a lot or ask about Uber Eats and stuff. How much of the money you're making is going to that?
Pretty good amount, I'd say. I mean, I think Yorkie's a bit worse than me, but no, I think Uber Eats is definitely a big part of my paychecks.
And honestly, Rask, you know what I was thinking the other day? Uber Eats must just be making a killing from all the young kids being in the A this year, just because this year, just like all the kids moving out, not having a clue what they're doing. So maybe they need to get an Uber Eats code or something for like
get a sponsorship going.
/AHL under 21. The boys get a little discount or something.
Get the Uber Eats logo on the helmet ads.
Yeah, we'll get into the A bit more in a bit, but Rask, you got some minor hockey stuff you want to talk about, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take it back, but before we kind of bring it back, I just want to touch on, since Cardsy brought it up, just your time on the taxi squad. I don't want to brush over it, but can you just take us through kind of what the life is like as a taxi squad member in the NHL?
Yeah, so I went up and I was in a hotel in Voorhees where their practice rink is. So you go in a bit earlier than the actual team does, and you have breakfast and stuff like that, and breakfast is all out for you. And like beforehand, you kind of warm up and you stretch with all the guys on the actual team and stuff. But then when it comes to practice, like they'll go to the one rink in practice, and then the taxi squad guys, there was like 5 of us that just skate on our own with the skills coaches, and we just kind of do our own thing, and then you all work out together afterwards. So the only thing that you're really not doing with them is actually playing in the games and practicing with them. Other than that, you're around the rink with them, you're hanging out with them. So it's not much of a difference from the team. You're just not really playing with them, but you're still hanging out with all the guys and stuff like that.
Are the guys kind of like treating you like you're on the team, or is it a little like, don't talk to me type of thing?
No, the guys are great. Like, nobody really puts himself on a pedestal at all. All the guys are there for the same reason, and everyone there is a good hockey player, and they're all there for a reason. So everyone pretty much treats each other like themselves. I know, like the first day I was there, Cards, me and Lots were talking about like his time back with Laz, and when Laz coached him way back in minor hockey, and just kind of sharing stories about when he was our coaches and stuff like that. Like Lots is a guy who probably doesn't need to talk to me at all, but like still just mess around with me and shared some stories. So it's definitely, it's cool how they don't put themselves on pedestals at all, even though they probably could.
Yeah, no, and it's good for you to learn because I know you put yourself on a pedestal and SAG there and just treated everyone like garbage. So
Oh my God.
no,
Yeah.
no, I'm just playing around, but no, that's actually sweet. And I know we were talking about it, and you just said like the lifestyle and stuff, and I'm sure the bank account wasn't hurting after a few days there. A little extra dough. You make any cool? I know you wanted to spend, and I know we'll talk about it more about your bonus and whatnot. But
It's not
Well,
extra money though, is it?
isn't he making?
so you make this year, because of the COVID year, we're making half of what our normal paycheck is. And then when you go up to the taxi squad, you make your full A salary. So you're basically making double while you're there, what you do.
Okay.
So that was a little treat for a few days. A little you get extra Uber Eats those days.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting side dishes with his food.
Yeah, he gets a side of mash and a Caesar salad. Before it was just straight chicken fingers.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll kind of catch back up to where you are now, but like Cardsy said, we'll bring it back. And I just want to talk about your minor hockey days. You grew up in London, played for the London Junior Knights with friend of the show, Ryan Suzuki. And just how was that experience being in, like one of the top teams in the Alliance every year, London Junior Knights, just a great organization. So what was your minor hockey experience like there?
Yeah, it's a blast. I mean, I think we lost only like 11 games throughout like 7 years of minor hockey. So it was pretty fun being able to show up to the rink and just kind of mess around with all your childhood buddies and stuff, and just like go out and win every game. We had a pretty solid team. I think we had every single one of our forwards were drafted to the O that year, so it made it easy in the back end when you could give up 5 goals a game and I could be dash 5, but we still scored 13. So I mean, it made my life a lot easier, but no, we definitely had a blast. We had a good group of guys. I think really made like 4 changes through the 7 years, and a couple of those guys are now my buddies still to this day. So it was a blast. We all still stay connected and all hang out. And we usually once a summer do like a junior nights golf tournament and stuff. And like we haven't played together since we were 14, 15. So the fact that 4 years later we're still going out doing golf stuff together and guys still hang out and stuff, it's pretty cool. We have a pretty special team.
Yeah, that's kind of like the dream of minor hockey. I mean, so many guys play with different people year to year, and to have a group like that growing up together, that really is cool, and it is a dream, especially when you're kind of the top team as well. But I mean, being in London, did you go to a lot of London Knights OHL games when you're growing up?
Oh yeah, for sure. I growing up, so this will tell you a lot about me. My favorite player on the Knights growing up was Steve Mason, because his last name was the same as my first name. So every game I'd wear a Mason jersey to the junior Knights or the London Knights games. And so my first ever favorite player was a goalie, believe it or not. So
Interesting.
no, I grew up going to a lot of those games, and it's a pretty cool atmosphere to grow up around and kind of experience junior in for sure.
So growing up around the London Knights, was the OHL kind of always your dream? You never really thought college at all?
Yeah, I think, I think growing up in London, I mean, London's one of the top organizations in the OHL, and to grow up around that, kind of see that atmosphere every night and see how passionate the fans are and just living around it. And, when I'm in elementary school, like in grade 7, and everyone's running up to me asking, are you going to the Knights game? Are you going to the Knights game? Like it's a pretty cool atmosphere that makes you just want to drive there and get there. So I think the OHL was kind of always my main goal to get to. But after my draft year in the OHL, I think school kind of became a thing to look at. I mean, I didn't go high by any means in the OHL draft, so I think school kind of came into the picture a bit. But then a Wednesday night, I got a call from Trinkle asking me to go play in the Sioux, so kind of never looked back there.
Yeah, how could you turn down a Wednesday night in the Sioux? GFL Gardens there buzzing. But no, this kind of, you just touched on it. Millie wasn't a high pick at all, and that's kind of, a lot of people wouldn't realize that if they just kind of took a glance now. Signed to an ELC, playing in the AHL this year, but 7th rounder to the OHL, actually, to Saginaw. And we'll just kind of go over your draft day. What was that day like for you? Were you kind of expecting to go in that range, or how'd things go? And how'd you get the news?
No, so I in the OHL draft, I had no idea. I mean, what I played on a powerhouse team who scored 20 goals a game, but I think I only had like 13 points in minor midget. Like I wasn't the best defenseman on our team by any means. So I think, you know what, like for me, it was just kind of something where I was just hoping to get drafted, and I thought that'd be really cool and stuff like that. So I remember draft day, like Zook went first overall as typical Zook fashion. So, you know, I was kind of supporting him, and I had like 5 or 6 other buddies who went in the top 5 rounds. So just kind of supporting them and happy for them. And then I remember I was just kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden my mom jumped up, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what are you doing? And then my phone started blowing up. Like all the guys text me congratulating me. And so like, because the OHL was on the computer, like my computer was lagged behind, and I didn't even know. So I got a bunch of texts from like all the guys like saying, congrats, man, congrats. So it was either Flint or Sag, one of the 2 powerhouses. So I kind of just sat there for a second, like my heart sunk to like my stomach. And then I saw myself get picked at 124 or something like that, or whatever it was. And then it was just kind of exciting in the moment because I didn't really know if I was going to get drafted or not. And then, you know what, I got a couple calls, and I was pretty pumped up and pretty excited for sure.
Yeah, when you got drafted, like when I got drafted by SAG, I know like G called me after the draft, and I talked about it last episode, I think. But did anybody call you, like, other than like, I'm sure who was the coach? Smitty? Was it Smitty at the time, or Drinks, or any of the players give you a shout?
Yeah, so my draft year would have been when Carbs was there still.
Oh yeah.
So Carbs, who now coaches in Hershey, who I play against all the time, he was there when I got drafted. So Drinks and Carbs called me, but other than that, nobody. I was nobody to them. I wasn't a priority to them back then.
I guess at the time, and then you kind of just made the name for yourself, and the first step towards that was the Gouge, and I know Rask wants to touch on that a bit because you just tore that league apart as a rookie.
Yeah, well, I do want to mention, like, my biggest question of that was, I mean, first I'll mention you were the top defenseman in the Gouge AHL as a rookie, top rookie defenseman, sorry. But how did that first year junior help you adjust to the OHL? Like, can you talk about maybe the step it helped you take?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think just playing against the older guys aspect, you know, I'd never done that in my life. And so to go in and play against a couple 20-year-olds was definitely a real eye opener for me. You know, I was lucky enough, I had 3 of my junior nights buddies. All 3 of us went to St. Thomas because I got cut from London when I tried out for them. So I actually got cut from my home junior B team.
No way.
And ended up in St. Thomas. And you know what, like it was something where we had a great group of guys. You know, most of them were Western guys, so all of them kind of lived around me back home in London. So we were all pretty tight and did a lot of stuff together. So it was a great group of guys, and it was a really good learning experience. I think just seeing how the age factor has a big role and where you kind of need to be. So I think training wise, it kind of changed my aspect and my outlook on what I needed to do and how I needed to play for sure.
You have any like funny junior B kind of stories or memories you want to bring up, or anything you see on the ice that like wouldn't really fly in the O?
So, yeah, I have a couple. First one is not funny, but so every intermission in St. Thomas, we were sponsored by Wendy's. So they had these little squared metal pucks, and a player would always go out and shoot from the other end of the ice and try and hit one of those little small things to win like a free Wendy's burger. So no one hit it for like the first 3-4 games of the year, and I was a little pigeon, so I never got to go. And then one time someone's like I don't want to go, you go. I went out, I hit it. They're like, hey, well, you got to go again. I hit it 5 games in a row. So for five games, I had free Wendy's meals on my way to the rink. But no,
that's not bad at all.
No, the other one was, so we had a kid from Toronto. His name was Christian Clark. And Clark and his brothers were all really big lacrosse players. So they were all really, really tough kids. And I remember in one of our games against Leamington, because we had cages on, you weren't allowed to intentionally take your helmet off, right? Like if you fought a guy, it was basically whoever ripped the other guy's helmet off first got to beat the other kid to shreds. So I remember Clarky and this other tough guy both line up at center ice, start of a game. Ref drops a puck. We start playing. Clarky and this kid go over to each other, and he puts his head out. The kid undoes his helmet, takes his helmet off. The other kid puts his head out. Clarky takes his helmet off. They go to fight. the refs jump in and like say like no, like that can't happen. You intentionally took each other's helmet off, suspended both of them for 2 games. When Clarky was skating to the box, he punched the glass as hard as he could with his hand and broke the glass.
Oh my
He was
God.
pissed that he didn't get to fight. He shattered his knuckle and broke the glass.
That's
And then
nails.
just skated off the ice. Oh, he's a
That's-
psychopath. He was a beauty though.
That's Goj killer stuff right there.
Oh,
like
yeah.
back in the day, like if you put that guy in the league, you'd just be murdering people in the
yeah.
OHL.
And
And
he was
Millie,
hacking too, man.
I can only imagine you too on the bench, just like chin strap done up as tight as you can, neck guard fully up, just like scared shitless.
I had nasty hang, buddy. I had nasty hang.
What was your reaction though when this guy shatters the glass with his knuckle?
I was like, what's going on? Like, I was so confused. Like, I was like one of the first times I've ever seen someone like try and fight. Like, he tried to fight all the time, but like, I didn't understand why he was so mad. Like, I'm like, what? Like, why are you so mad? And then like, finally clicked into my head that there's a couple guys throughout your pro career and stuff like that and junior careers that just are missing a few screws. And him and his brothers definitely they got a few screws loose in their head for sure.
So yeah, that's actually hilarious. And I want to kind of just follow that year. Obviously, as Rask said, rookie defenseman of the year in the Goj. So, and you got a taste of SAG, which you mentioned, getting the call from drinks and stuff. But your first full year in SAG, when I was fortunate enough to meet you, so it was also your draft year, and you ended up with 25 points in 66 games as a young defenseman. Great numbers, a good skating defenseman. I can remember you got your first OHL goal in the first game of the season against the Sioux, right? Wasn't it a clap bomb from the point?
Yeah, I kind of panicked at the end of a period, closed my eyes and swung as hard as I could, and it ended up in the net.
Yeah, I can remember that one. So, yeah, you want to just talk about that year a little bit? I mean, as I just said, draft year, what were your expectations going into the draft? And then we'll just kind of touch on the deep playoff run.
Yeah, so like going into SAG, like that was my main goal, is just to make that team. Like I hadn't even thought about it being my draft year or anything like that. And so, I kind of went into my first game and I was nervous and worried about playing in the OHL. Wasn't even thinking about NHL scouts or anything like that. And I think I had 2 points in my first game. And I remember I came off the ice and I was pretty happy with myself. Like, nice, like I'm going to secure myself like in the lineup here, like just play like a 6D role kind of thing. And then I remember Drinks came and grabbed me and he goes, hey, like someone's here to see you. And I'm like, that's weird. Like my family's outside. Like I know they're here, but who else is here to see me? Walked into Drinks' office and there's a guy sitting there with a black pea coat on wearing a St. Louis logo. And I'm like, I must be in the wrong room or something here. Like, why is this guy in here anyways? So that's when I had my first interview with an NHL team. And so I remember walking out of the rink, like that night, I was walking out of the rink to my car and I had my first goal puck and a St. Louis business card in my hand. I was like, this is pretty surreal right now. Like I never even expected this. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of when I was like, wait a second here. Like this is my draft year. Like I'm going to try and make an impact on this team.
Yeah. And then obviously you did make an impact. And when we went on that deep playoff run, for those who don't know, what'd you do? Did you break your collarbone?
No, I separated my AC joint.
Okay. But it was bad, like really bad.
Yeah,
and you were out for a while. So you spent some quality time with me in the press box, and we were just up to our normal tomfoolery. But you want to just talk about that playoff run and how kind of cool it was in your first full year, and then obviously it evidently it helped your draft stock as you had a great playoffs when you were in.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we were pretty loaded that year. It's pretty easy. I got to give some credit when credit's due. Like when you have guys like Owen Tippett, Ryan McLeod, Bodie Wild, like guys like that, and you can, pass a puck to Owen Tippett coming through the middle of the ice in your own end, and I'm standing against my own boards behind my net, and he can go all the way down the ice and score. I mean, those apples help get you noticed at a number standpoint, but like when you have a guy like that with the puck, like, I mean, it's pretty crazy when you got that kind of help. So, I mean, for your first playoff run, no one really made it any better. But I mean, we had a pretty loaded team there. We got Ivan in net, and then I had young Fetters up front, and some other pretty talented players for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, that pretty much does it. I know the fans have heard about that playoff run so many times, and it's just because we're so fortunate enough to like kind of just have so many good players that I got to play with there and kind of talk about their career, and that's something just kind of a staple in a lot of the players' careers, and something that was really enjoyable. But I know we got a lot of stuff on the NHL draft, so I'll kind of flip it over to Rask, because at the end of that season, that's what was coming up in the early summer for you.
Yeah, and like you said, Cards, Millie, you kind of played your way up in the playoffs to improve your draft stock. But I'm just curious, and I know the listeners might be curious too, before we even talk about that, what kind of, like, can you just describe your play style? Like, are you you're not an offensive defenseman per se, are you?
He's absolutely trying to rip you, I guess. Like he hasn't watched the game tape.
This guy's spitting on
I haven't seen you play.
No, I'd say I'm probably a good two-way D man. I mean, you know what? I know when to jump up. Hey, I was plus 40 something both years in the O. And
you got to play on playing on loaded teams. Don't kid yourself. You just mentioned it, but
dash 13 at the start of last year after 3 games. I think I finished plus 47.
Oh, that's the best story ever too. Can you just inform everybody about your first game where we played in Kitchener last year?
Last year in Kitchener. First game of the season, I get to start the game because I was the man. So
let's put it into context here. So Millie's coming back from his first show camp. Millie thinks he's the man. Millie's telling everyone on the bus he's gonna have 3 snipes tonight. Like he's gonna light it up. Continue.
That's a lie. But so I start the game, and you know what? Like line up the face off, whatever. They snap the puck back. Their D-man goes to dump it in. Lenny goes behind the net and it hits a stanchion or hits the ref and goes in the net. 10 seconds into the year, I'm dash 1. I'm like, are you kidding me? They call it off. I'm like, oh my God, man. Anyways, we lost 4-3 in overtime, and I was dash 4 that game. So that was a good start. And then we played Sarnia the next game and I think we won 6-3, and I was dash 3. So I was dash 7 in the first 2 games. And then we got smoked by someone, and I was like dash 5. We played Ottawa. And lost 8-1, and I was dash 5. So I was dash 13 after the first 3 games of the year. I had guys from Flint in my ear asking me it was Durham. Jake Durham was asking me if I was going for the green jacket. Guys telling me I should be at the Masters, all sorts of different stuff. Just everyone was in my ear. And then we ended up just turning it on, and I got lucky enough to be on for a few goals. So.
And Lazzy Boy gave you a hard time after that Kitch game. I remember.
Yeah, after the Kitch game, Laz brought me in and definitely gave me an earful. Not even an earful. I don't even think he was mad. I just think he didn't even know what I was doing. Like he genuinely, like when I went in there and sat down, he just asked me, he said, like, what are you doing? I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Was it your fault though, or did you just happen to be on?
Nah, I think some of it was my fault for sure.
A few of them in Kitch were hilarious though. Like it was actually laughable after the fact. Like when we're like, well, now that we can talk about it and how cocky Millie was coming back, and then
I was even cocky, man. Like I was fired up for the season. I was pumped to be in my draft +1, play a good year, hopefully show up, and then that started my year, and I was like, oh my God, man.
You're like in your head, you're like, I can kiss this contract goodbye if this.
Well, okay, let's talk about the draft a bit. So, I mean, you end up being drafted in the 4th round by the Philadelphia Flyers. Can you just take us through your kind of draft day experience, 2 days, and the moment you were picked, how that went down?
Yeah, so we were in Vancouver for our draft, and I remember Zook and I, like our families went together down there, and so Zook was pretty much locked in the first round, and so the first day we went there just kind of to be with him and support him. So I sat like a row back behind him and got to watch him get drafted, which was pretty cool and pretty special to see him walk across stage, especially someone, you know, who I've known since I was 7 years old. So that was a pretty cool aspect. And I remember the second day it started, the draft started at like noon or something like that. And I didn't really know where I was going or if I was even going. But then I remember, and I said this to my mom, when Philly was up to pick there, I remember looking down at the table, like I'd look at everyone's table just to see what guys were talking about and stuff. And I remember the OHL's head scout for Philly, everyone was looking at him. Like everyone was staring at him, talking to him, and he kind of looked like he had all eyes on him. And I was just like, wait a second, like this guy's going to pick someone from the O in about half a second. And I remember just sitting there, and then I heard like from OHL, the Saginaw Spirit, and it was either me or Porks, and then they called my name. So it was pretty cool and pretty special to hear that. So I ended up getting to go down there and meet everyone. And I did some media, and then I remember I went up to like the Philly media person, grabbed me and was like, hey, like we have a box upstairs for you and your family with lots of food where everyone is. So I went up there and met everyone. And I remember the coordinator girl for Philadelphia came up to me and she's like, hey, like you have a flight in 2 hours to Philly. Like you got to go back and pack. So I literally took like photos of my family, and I think I ate one plate of nachos and then had to head back and grab a taxi and was on a flight on my own to Philly for development camp.
That's crazy. It's nuts how fast they do that turnaround. I mean, I imagine your agent told you like bring your skates and stuff, right?
No.
Oh no.
I had nothing. So I had nothing with me. So I had all new equipment at development camp except for my skates because Ratcliffe, luckily, was already drafted to Philly, and he was still in London. He was leaving the next day. So I called him and said, hey, like if I give you like my garage code, my house code, can you go into my house and get my skates for me at least? And he's like, yeah, for sure. So Ratty ended up grabbing my skates for me. So at least I had my skates there, but everything else that I wore was all brand new equipment.
Okay. Wow. Interesting. So how did that dev camp go for you? I mean, with the new equipment, was it a challenge, but like what kinds of things did you learn as well?
Yeah. I mean, I felt like a robot the first couple of days, but it was definitely a cool experience. I mean, all the younger guys, like I know Frosty was there, Ratty's there, Bunny was there, like a bunch of the younger guys who I'm now like buddies with and stuff, like they were all there. And it was kind of just a fun couple of weeks to kind of just meet everyone and skate and mess around with everyone. And I remember we did this 3-on-3 tournament for the trophy. It was like a trophy every year at development camp, and if your team wins it, you get your name put on it. So luckily enough, I got carried all the way to the finals by a couple guys, and our game went to overtime, and I ended up getting the overtime winner for the cup. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and just a quick plug for Millie's Insta. If you want to see that photo, it's on his Instagram, of him hoisting the cup.
It is true.
Yeah, I remembered that because I was like, oh my God, look at this guy. Big wheel now.
I think I tagged the Stanley Cup in it too.
That's awesome. And so kind of just like Card said, you know, you go into that season, I won't say cocky because I don't know, but I mean, you definitely have some confidence coming back from the draft. Like, what was your off season like kind of heading into that next season? Did you do anything different to prepare?
I mean, just really focusing on getting bigger and stronger. I think, you know, that's kind of the big step to the next level. I was a pretty good skater. I kind of rely on my mobility, but the whole strength aspect, like I said, like when you're looking to play at a higher level and, you know, I'm battling cards in a corner, I push them around for fun and practice every day. Like it's all jokes until I have to go battle someone that's 35 years old that's fighting for 2 kids.
This guy's out of his mind. I'd love to see you back as an OA just because I want to run you through the wall now. But no, following that year, like you go back into now what like would be your full second year in SAG, and I was there at the start of the season, and this kind of just goes to Rask's point where he's spitting on you about 44 points in 58 games as a defenseman. So pretty offensive. And I know Millie's got great wheels, and that's kind of what a lot of goals came off, walking the line or leading the rush, whatnot, kind of stuffs like that. So how'd you find this year went for you? Like, I guess 2 years ago now.
Yeah. You know, it was again, another year where we were fortunate enough to be pretty loaded. So I think just as you get older, you get more confidence and more capability and more leeway with coaching staff and stuff. So I think just with more opportunity and stuff like that, you kind of prosper more, and, you know, you kind of take more risks than you would in your first year. When your first year, you're just trying to stay in the lineup versus now you're trying to impress a team that's looking at you. So I mean, kind of take a bit more risk and try and make some nicer plays versus when you play the safe route before. So basically just keep the puck away from cards and give it to the better players.
Yeah, whatever it takes to keep it off the right side and away from my hands. And then you
I want fishbowl cards back. That kid was lethal.
I was nasty when I had the fishbowl. I mean,
7 rips, no apples.
Once I took the fishbowl off, it was over for me. And just, but no, we got noted here in the script. Just like any stories from SAG. I mean, we could be here for days and days, talking about stories. But I mean, like, I know I got one funny one actually, and we might have to get a picture of Millie wearing these things for the Insta. But one day Millie showed up at the rink and he bought what was the website that you loved to use to buy fake stuff off?
No, I only ever use it once. I'll actually go grab them. I have them in my closet.
Okay.
So I got these shoes off a website.
Damn.
Gucci. Made in Italy.
Gucci, real Gucci, they say.
They cost me $4,000.
No, Millie got those for about $80, right? How much were they?
I think I got them for like $60 off the website. And so those are kind of my slippers that I wear around.
I can remember though, Millie shows up the first day. He actually wears them to a game. This guy shows up like
I wore them in a suit.
In all seriousness, he's showing up with fur coming out of his boots. There's $60 that he's faking to wear Gucci shoes. We're like, Millie, relax. And he got ripped a bit about them, but they were hilarious, man.
The weirdest part about that was we had a fan tour that night, and remember that that girl DM'd me a picture of my shoes and said, "I like your shoes."
Yeah,
one of the creepiest things I've ever gotten.
A legitimate compliment.
Yeah.
People are all over them. You say, yeah, no, I got them for $60. Go get yourself a pair too. But actually another one, it came up in my memories the other day on Snap, because it was just like, I don't even know why. Maybe I was going through or something, but we didn't have like much to do. So like Millie, we'd always go to like, what was that place called? Culver's. We'd always be at Culver's mucking ice creams. We'd always go to the movies, just hang out. Like there would be nothing really to do. So one night we were at Kroger, I think. We picked up like 5 2-liter bottles of Coke. And I got this video of me and Millie. We were just messing around. So we were throwing these bottles of Coke, shaking them up and throwing them, and they'd go flying in the air. And Millie tosses one up, and it went like legit probably 100 feet in the air. This bottle of Coke, it was sick. It just skyrocketed up, and that was pretty cool. Maybe we'll throw that one in a clip, because it was actually a good video and some good science physics for the folks listening and watching.
Just school guys.
We'll throw that on the TikTok. That stuff gets like 1 million views. Those ones.
Yeah, we'll throw that on the TikTok. Maybe Millie makes us go viral again. But talking about school, guys, Millie, I know you didn't do too much. You're a smart kid, though. Obviously, all your shit was done and stuff. But like, there wasn't much school going on when you were there. You'd be messing around trying to make rap songs, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I always had a fun time at school. I did well at school, and when I put myself towards school, I always did really well. So I think when I was done my stuff, and there's a couple other guys like Brutes and stuff who struggled with school and needed to really dial into school and spend the full 3 hours on their work. I think I started messing around and I got them going. I think they got a bit distracted, and then I think Tuzo wasn't always the happiest with us. And then, I mean, we had Lenny in the back who was just yelling and had that's all the time. So he was always
bleeping that.
He was always freaking out and yelling stuff and playing music through his headphones at $1.10. So
yeah,
we had fun at Heritage. Heritage was it was a fun school. Couple good stories from there for sure.
Yeah, Heritage High School definitely remembers the boys. Got a little rowdy there in Tuzo's class sometimes, but hey, we had a good time and our work got done, so that's all that matters.
All of us graduated.
Zook teed me up for one from Saginaw, where he wanted me to ask you about the time when he got traded from Barrie to Saginaw. Zook says he got a FaceTime from Dave Drinkle and you were on the phone. What was that?
Yeah, so trade deadline kind of came around. You know what, Zook and I have been talking a lot. I know Barrie wasn't doing too well that year, and Zook Zook was still doing pretty good. And I remember going to drinks and just going, hey, like I know for a fact Zook would come here. Like all you got to do is call Barry and say, hey, like we want him, and they'll get rid of him. So I remember I talked to drinks. I kind of messed around, just joking with the drinks. Like I'd just walk by his office and go, you get Zook yet? And he just kind of laugh, and I'd keep walking and stuff like that. And I remember the one day I walk in and he goes, did you hear I got Zook? And I just kind of laughed. He's like, no, like I'm serious. Like we just got Zook. And so I called Zook right away, and Laz walks over to me. He goes, give me your phone. Takes my phone right out of my hand, and so Zook answers, and he goes, hello. And he like just thinks it's me, so he's not looking. And Laz goes, what's up, pigeon? And so Zook starts killing himself laughing and stuff. And I know Laz was pretty fired up, and Drinks was pretty fired up, but came at a cost, that's for sure.
A tough day for the boys.
Yeah,
that's funny though. You engineered the trade. Eh? You got maybe a career as a GM ahead of you.
That's what I said to Drinks. I said my hockey career's over. I gotta get hired there.
Yeah, Millie got the trade done, but Seward got me out of there. But
we gotta get rid of this Cardwell kid.
It ended up working out better for me anyway, so I'm not complaining. But that was actually funny too, because I remember me and Millie were driving around one night in Millie's Jeep. I think he was showing me these sick lights he got in his car, and he was all fired up about those. So we're driving around, and we called Zooks. And we're on the phone with him, and we're both like, yeah, man, you should come to SAG. And funny enough, like I'm the one leaving when he's coming, and I'm the one telling him, yeah, you got to come to SAG.
I remember that because the summer prior, we went to a music festival called Boots and Hearts. And that's kind of when like a bunch of us, like Washer from Mississauga and stuff like that, and Jetter, like who we all know and stuff, who's plays for Barry. Zook and I played against him growing up. Like we're all buddies. He stayed at my house a couple times, and so like all of us kind of hung out at that festival. And so like me, Tomer, like all those guys, like we all became close buddies because we spent 4 days together of just country music and hanging out and stuff. So Cards knew Zook pretty well, and that's why it was kind of tough, because like Cards wanted Zook to come too, and then when Zook found out Cards was going the other way, like he was pretty pissed off too, because he obviously knew Cards and wanted Cards to be there and stuff. So yeah, it was a bittersweet day, that's for sure.
Yeah, bittersweet on both ends, because I saw Zooks actually halfway, because we had somebody like they have to follow you when you get traded, like the assistant GM. So we met up, and I was like, shit, bro, like sucks we're going separate ways, but best of luck with the boys, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met you, Cards, that same night in London.
Yeah, a blessing in disguise.
Cards, how about Rhodesy?
Yeah.
He might be living with my buddies from back home next year.
Really? Where?
Yeah. Waterloo.
Oh, what's at you, Waterloo or Laurier?
Laurier.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah, he might live with them.
Small world.
Are we breaking a recruit announcement?
Yeah, maybe? Small one. Maybe. Is he playing hockey there?
I have no idea.
Whatever.
Anyway, we'll move it forward, but I wanted to mention, you signed with the Flyers after that season in SAG. We kind of got sidetracked, but first of all, congrats. But did you make any big purchases, reward yourself, other than maybe buying some lights for your car?
Nothing yet. So obviously, like I had World Junior Camp, and that finished right at the start of December, and I came home, and I think I signed like December 18th or something like that. And January 10th, I came here because I was going to come here for 2 weeks before the OHL season, just to skate, because no one could skate in Ontario. So they wanted me to skate and stuff and keep developing. So I was going to come down here. So I packed for 2 weeks and moved down here, and was in the hotel for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 week mark, like the OHL still hadn't announced anything, and they said that we could play in the AHL for a bit. So they moved me into the apartments here. And now, 4.5, 5 months later, I'm going back home the end of this week at my end of my first pro season. So crazy times for sure.
Yeah, it's completely wild, actually.
I know Millie he was talking about getting a car though, so could be getting a car here soon.
Looking at that in the summer, I think.
All right, there's the purchase. Well, that fits perfectly, because the reason I ask is our partners at Gavin Hockey Well Specialists believe that your goals matter. After hundreds of early morning practices and countless hours on the ice or in the gym, you truly earned your success, and you deserve to enjoy it. For over 20 years, the team at Gavin has assisted professional hockey players with setting goals and, more importantly, providing them with a game plan to achieve them. Whether it's a house, a car, a cottage, or even supporting your family, it's all within reach when you partner with a pro. You can check them out at gavingroup.ca. Now, I also wanted to ask, we touched on it a bit at the beginning, but just the AHL life, like you just brought it up. I just want to know, how do you find the adjustment to the AHL? I mean, just specifically on the ice, like we already talked about kind of the off ice and the lifestyle with, older guys and families and stuff, but actually on the ice, how are you finding it?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a big difference. I mean, you are a pro hockey player now, so you're expected a lot more. What accountability is a huge difference. I think, like, you're in a junior practice and you're not having a good practice and everyone's kind of messing around, having fun. Like, that stuff doesn't really fly here. You work just as hard in practice as you do in a game here, and that's like legit, or else you're going to get ripped. So I just think the accountability and the responsibility for players is held to a lot higher standard for sure. And then on top of that, just the whole aspect of the game, just everything's faster and stronger and more physical for sure. It's a league where you really have to be able to outwork guys and outmuscle guys if you want the puck.
So we got a few fan questions here. I know we normally get a boatload, and nothing changed this week. And we'll start it off with kind of the one that's set in stone now. What's your stick and the specs on it?
So I use the AS3s, the new ones. Mm-hmm. I use 85 flex with a 6 lie, and I don't know what it is. I used to use the P88 in Bauer. I think it's a P82 maybe in CCN. So I don't know, whatever the Kane curve is, so I have hands like him.
Yeah, pretty similar players. Who's your favorite music artist?
I don't know, because when I was back in SAG with you, like, I was huge into rap. Like, I was a big rap kid.
21 Savage?
Yeah, but I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of country lately. Just a lot of easy vibes, but no, I don't even know. I like all sorts of music. But if I had to pin one, I don't know, Lil Baby's been good recently. I've liked him.
All right, Showbound bump for Lil Baby. If he's listening.
Yeah, Lil Baby's sales after this on his record's going way up now.
Yeah. Most embarrassing moment on the ice.
On the ice, I don't even know. For me or for a friend?
Anyone, sure, I guess.
I mean, Fetters was pretty bad at World Juniors when he went out with no blades, but
no, we already told that story. Can't need another one.
For me, I don't know.
I mean, some people don't have them. It's fair. Maybe you just don't embarrass yourself. Must be
I've
nice.
probably been danced pretty bad a few times in my career.
Fair enough.
For 5 in Kitchener.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I have one. I
actually
do have one. The worst one, because it was the guy that did it, was right after Steps got traded. You remember that? And Catch. Right after Steps got traded, and like Steps was always like, Ryan Stephanie was one of the guys who always hung out with us, and he was in our high school class. He's a funny dude. Like, he's just a different guy. And so Steps was always close to us, and I remember, like, he got traded and all of us were pretty sad about it. And then the first game we played, he came down the wing full speed, and I kind of gapped up to him, and he pulled the puck out like he was going to shoot. So I lunged for it, and he toe dragged and put it through my feet, and then went bar down on Ivan. And he just kind of looked at me and laughed, and I was just like, that did not just happen to me. So I think that's probably one of the moments for sure.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, Millie, when I know we talked about the first game of the season this year, in overtime, didn't Steps score too? To start like 2 seasons ago or whatever in SAG when we lost 4-3. I think it was Steps.
Didn't he go on like a 10 game heater at the start of the year? Everyone that SAG trades away just goes on heaters and just ruins us.
Especially Cards.
It happens, right? You don't want to the guy you trade away, I'll just go bar down in overtime like I did on Lenny. So what do we got next here?
Remember when Porks went back to SAG after the trade and scored the shootout winner right out, like, first game?
Yeah, it was like the first game after, and I think he started going like this to the crowd or something.
Yeah,
he was getting booed hard too. That was actually funny.
Lucky I didn't go. I'm 100% my career, buddy.
Next we got Rish Laird asks, what does a day look like in the life of an off season? I butchered that.
Okay,
What?
can I read this? It's very, what does a day look like for you in the off season?
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
come
what
on,
does a day look like in the off season for you? There we go. I made it my own.
Yeah, I mean,
That's great.
we train in a place called TPH, so we usually work out around 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. every morning. So I'll get up and have breakfast and then go to the gym, and then we usually work out from like 9 to 10, and then we'll skate at 10:30 till 11:30. And so we have a pretty good group of guys there, and then usually I'll have a tea time somewhere with my buddies from back home. So we'll go out and play around, and then just kind of hang out and relax for the night. That's pretty much every day for us. Maybe a
Okay.
few trips to the Bend every once in a while.
Yeah. Kian Brushaber, I think I got it right. Sorry if I didn't, asks, do you use any wax on your twig?
I do not. I've never used wax on my stick. I've always just been a plain, skinny white tape. That's it.
Pretty
Except
simple.
I changed up my knob this year though.
Yeah, what do you got going now?
Steel guy knob,
Oh God.
straight grip tape,
Oh no. Just
and spray painted.
of course you did. Showtime now. Showtime. Once you hit the taxi squad, all this had to come out.
No, have you seen the AS3s? Have you seen them at all in person?
Yeah, they're a good looking stick.
So you see how the CCM on it's silver?
Yeah, it looks
shines
different.
in your eyes when you play. Like when you
Come on.
skate around, it shines in your eyes.
So you had to
I have the whole CCM logo down, spray painted black.
No, you got to use it to your advantage. Get the angles going and get it in the other guy's eyes.
Oh, it's in my eyes when I'm trying to stick handle. I already can't stick handle.
Oh, you shouldn't be looking down.
Yeah, I mean, your stick handling needs work to start with, so we don't need another distraction in the way. Josh Mantha asks, and I already know the answer to this one. Who would win in a fight, Cardsy or Millie?
Oh my, that wouldn't even be fair. I think, what do you have, 0 career?
I have 0 career fights. If you asked me this question at the end of last OHL season, I would have said Millie. Now I'm saying me because I have 25 pounds on you. But
no.
Millie, actually, man, I will. Here's a good story. Actually,
Content piece coming.
Content piece. Millie's first fight. So I'm suspended. I kicked the back of somebody's legs out and did a nice little slew foot. So I'm out for 2 games. Millie was making fun of me, calling me the punter, the kicker, all these things. So I'm in the crowd, right? And whatever. So then I'm actually doing commentary for the game with Joey Botano and Saginaw. And so I'm legit on the air calling the game with him and being the color. So Millie rocks a kid, like legit almost decapitates him.
He's going after Fetz the entire game, trying to kill Fetz.
Yeah. So Millie stands this kid up at the red line. I'm like, holy, like that was a big hit. So I'm like, wow. And then I can remember on the air, Millie drops the gloves. It was CK who you fought too, Colton Kammerer, who's one of my buddies as well. So I'm like, I think I said like, holy shit, just live on the air. So I'm like biting my tongue or something like after I'm like, but then no, Millie, like unreal fight, like probably one of the better fights I saw all year between both of them. Pretty like Millie held his own against a guy who fights a lot, and probably Millie, you might probably even won that fight. So I mean,
I don't know. I didn't know what a switch was at that time, and I remember Kammerer switched to his left. I remember eating a few right in the chin, but
you held your own to say the least. And then funniest part about the story was Millie got a suspension, so he was joining me in the press box the night after. He was chirping me about it, and then sure enough, there he was with me the next night.
I got 5 games for a clean hit.
Yeah, that was actually, if we can clip that was a huge hit and a great fight. So we might have to make that a clip too, Rask. And I mean, so yeah, I think biased opinion, or I guess everyone's opinion says I'll win the fight. So that's good. We'll move on to the next. Hudson Fowler asks, any funny moments or memories from World J's camp?
I mean, it was tough. Like we were locked down in a bubble. So we didn't, like when we were done at the rink, like we'd literally just go right back to our rooms, and we weren't allowed to leave our rooms. Like they'd come to our rooms and COVID test us in our front doors and stuff like that. And our meals were dropped off at our front door every day. So you didn't really get to go around too much and hang out with anyone too much. But this is kind of funny. So they wanted to do a bunch of like team bonding exercises and stuff like that, right? Just to get the boys closer and stuff. So one of their ideas was we're going to do a rock, paper, scissors tournament over Zoom. So we had a 64-man rock, paper, scissors tournament. And who do you think got the belt?
No.
Yeah. I won the rock, paper, scissors tournament and got my team like a free Oreo McFlurry or something like that during quarantine. So all the boys were pretty fired up. But yeah, it was the best 2 out of 3 against every guy you went against. And I ended up winning the rock, paper, scissors tournament. So I hold the belt right now for that.
Who'd you be in the final?
I beat one of the trainers, actually. I remember Zook and I were both in the semis, and Zook lost in the semis, and I won in the semis. And so I played our D coach, actually, Mitch Love. That's who I played in the finals. So
well, that would be something you would win. You win the one in Philly, and now you win that.
Oh, yeah.
Any little thing like that, just hand it over to Millie, I guess, before it starts. But
get a rock, paper, scissors.
You want to play a quick game right now? Ready?
You want it?
Me versus you. Ready?
On shoot.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh, you're not gonna beat Millie, man.
Millie keeps the belt.
That's the belt, buddy.
He might have been a bit lagged, but who cares? We're not gonna fake it here. Yeah, Millie's still the champ.
I got premium Wi-Fi here. Don't worry.
Top of the line.
Secret. That's hilarious. I mean, Cards, you got anything else kind of before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, you can just tell him about the little treat he's gonna have in London when he gets home.
Yeah, we got a little gift for you for coming on, courtesy of our sponsor, Axel Watches. I'm rocking mine right now, but we're gonna send you a watch. You can take a look at the website and pick which one you want. We'll send it your way, and you'll be looking really nice. And for the listeners that want to look like Millie with his Axel watch, you can go to axelwatch.com, use the code AX_Showbound for 15% off. And I mean, yeah, that's all from me. I really appreciate you coming on. This one was a lot of fun. But Cards, anything?
Yeah, no, Millie, you're gonna be looking good. New Axel watch, got your furry shoes. Still a bad haircut, but you know what? That doesn't matter when you got the Axel watch. Like we said about your AS3, man, the light can take everyone's kind of vision off your hair. I'm butchering words all day today.
No, you're making the right meaning here.
You're struggling.
I'm trying to put
maybe you should get out of bed 10 minutes before the call, eh?
I was sleeping. I'm sleeping today. I got to be more alert. I mean, didn't get a morning skate like you, but they get what I'm saying. The flash of the Axel watch will take the view away from your hair and focus on that, and your looks will go through the roof. So that's what I was trying to say. So everyone go get an Axel watch. And Millie, thanks a lot for coming on. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Thanks for having me. It's a blast.
I want to thank Millie for that. Good talking to him, and a longer one, but that was a really good interview. And yeah, I mean, Cards, anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, Millie's a talker, so we ran a little long there, and I know we could have been there for days if we got into depth about kind of everything that's going on in his life, my life, and our lives together. I mean, kind of just a bunch of stories, but no, we got the best ones out. A great episode, I think.
I got sorry to cut you off, but for the diehard Showbound listeners, that was Millie's second appearance on the pod. Cards, you remember the first?
Right. He was with Zooks in the hotel before they went to World Juniors Camp.
Yeah, episode 3. So Millie's a vet on the pod.
Well, if you haven't checked it out, go check out episode 3 because we always appreciate the later clicks on earlier episodes. So definitely go rewatch. I'd say probably every episode if you want. Everyone listen to this one. Go check them all out again. Might as well. But no, man, I think that pretty much does it for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all from us. Cards, take it away with the usual outro here.
Yeah, no, not much.
Throw it to you. See what you come up with.
Yeah, no, just throw it over to me and I'll jumble some words together and we'll call it an outro. But yeah, no, just thanks everybody. And like I said, you got a lot of time on your hands right now, so go rewatch every single episode. Let us know in the comment section on Instagram or Twitter what you think about all the episodes. Keep us informed. If you ever want anything, let us know. We'll make it happen for you. We're men of the people, as Rask called me earlier. I'll give him that compliment too.
Let's go.
And that's it for me. Signing off. Ethan Cardwell, Michael Rask, and we're out.